Grew up in the church, and when he heard the devastating news that took place just a few minutes from where he lays his head, his heart broke.
Anger, sadness, despair, confusion, because I grew up in Guilford County and there's a lot of school shootings going on recently, and
Wake Forest put out a statement announcing today's meditation and reflection in solidarity with the Mount Tabor community. That statement helped lead Nick Davis to Davis Chapel today, this afternoon, and there was one simple quote that Nick shared with me that stuck with me all day. He told me, "Life's precious and be thankful."
All right, our forecast as we head into the next couple of days, big changes coming up for us. You may have noticed yesterday we had another line of showers and storms that moved through later in the day into the early evening hours, late afternoon. That has moved by and it left us with really comfortable temperatures. I'm sure you felt that. As soon as you walk out this morning, you were like, wow, lower humidities, very comfortable. 78 right now in Greensboro, 80 High Point, 79 in Winston-Salem and Walnut Cove, 78 in Reedsville and Martinsville. Back to the west, Mount Airy 78, the higher elevations there, Galax in the mountains at 72, and Wilkesboro in the foothills at 79. Current dew point, a far cry from where we were. Our dew points were in the 70s the last few days, so oppressive feeling. But this is, once you get down there, you're looking at pleasant or comfortable. Just about 30 minutes to an hour ago, this was at 53 degrees. So drier air is moving in for the area. If you look at the forecast for tonight, mostly clear and cool. We've got that 58 degree overnight low and then highs tomorrow at 81, mostly sunny. And again, lower humidity. You don't see much in the way of rain over our area, that's for sure. A big ridge of high pressure. In fact, look at that. You go from the Great Lakes all the way down to the southern tip of South Carolina with no precipitation, hardly at all. And we're looking out into the Atlantic, though. Hurricane Larry is still something that we'll pay attention to, but the future track of this system does look like it will just be moving in the middle of nowhere out in the Atlantic, but it could be a Category 4, so we'll still watch that. Good conditions over the next couple of days, courtesy of a high pressure. We'll have our 7-day forecast for you coming up. Stay tuned. Hello? Coach Lamont, can you hear me? Can't hear me yet. Let me see if I can get out here. Coach, you there?
I just thought I had to do something special to set it up.
So I put it in my own thing and I did it from there.
Okay.
All right. Coach, can you hear me?
That's what I'm saying. He's got PC routed is the problem. Hey,
Here.
interrupt and talk to Brad for me while we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it doesn't matter if he has it routed. Uh-oh. Should we go ahead and float?
It's our whole block, 930-77013. Join. Hold on. Okay.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Are you Eric?
Here, Tosh, just minimize it right there. Yes, this is Eric. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I wish I could see you. Will I be able to see you?
You know, not the way they have it routed, so there's not like a laptop in here where you can see.
Okay.
Don't think so, but we'll try.
I see
Can he see you
something.
now?
You're probably seeing the control room.
Yeah.
Is that what he sees?
No, actually, I see the, it looks like the studio.
What do you have in the?
Well, chaos, concern, confusion, these feelings sit in the pit of your stomach as a parent When you're sitting, waiting, you feel helpless, you're hoping you see your child safe and sound. It's a parent's worst nightmare and one every parent relates to, even if it's not your child in danger. Coach Lamont Odoms is with us this afternoon talking about what it's like to experience this as a parent. Just a few years ago, while working as a journalist for a Charlotte TV station, his daughters witnessed a shooting in the town of Matthews. That was at Butler High School. So Coach Lamont, you lived this 2 years ago. I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday, what you think about when you watch something like that.
You know, first of all, my heart goes out to the Triad community and also to the Miller family who lost their child. It does bring back memories of what I experienced October 29th of 2018. I was on my way actually to a station that I was working at here in Charlotte. I was hosting a daily morning lifestyle show. And as I'm on my way in, my wife calls me and she says that the school went into a lockdown. Well, that was something that was pretty odd because I knew that the day before, a couple of days before, they had a practice lockdown. So I found that pretty odd. But then one of my daughters, I had 3 daughters at the time who were at the high school, texted and said that this is something that is real. So I remember I got to the station, and one of the things about working at a station, we get access to information faster than the audience does. And I remember going to my assignment editor and asking if they had heard anything about what was going on at Butler. And they made a call, and the Matthews Police Department did indeed say that there was an active shooting. And all I know is that I left and I got there. And I had 2 hats on that day. I had the hat of media and also the hat of a father who was concerned. And I know and I identify with so many parents right now who felt what I felt yesterday. And you don't know if it is your child. But then that selfish thing kicks in after we find out that it's not our child. And my heart truly goes out to this community, but there is something that we as a community can do to prevent things like this from happening again.
How do you support because I thought about this too, how do you support your own daughters through this? Because really, we as adults probably can process it a little bit better than a young adult. How did you do that?
You know, the thing is that my daughters knew both who were involved in this incident at Butler High School, just as I know that there are students who witnessed what they witnessed yesterday and have maybe relationships with both. The thing is that you have to be patient as parents, and you have to listen, and you have to watch many of the patterns that may seem odd that our children go through after witnessing this. And it's important that you sit down, you talk to your kids, and at the same time of talking to them, listening and not always having the answer, but knowing where the answers can be found so that you can seek out the right help for your child.
And I would think too, we have about 30 seconds left, but I would think that the next few days with the wounds being so fresh, that's going to be a whole different ballgame than say 2 or 3 weeks from now.
You know, yesterday I was talking to my wife and I said, there are 2 families that will always be affected by this. And she says, no, it's not just 2 families. It's every family. Every family that's a part of the Triad community and every family that's a part of this high school. This is a day that no one will ever forget. But the thing is, what can we do to prevent this? And what can we do as a community to work with our young people so that we can help them the way that they need help? And that's what we're going to talk about soon.
That's great. All right, so stick around. So we're not finished with Coach Lamont just yet. He's coming back in our next half hour. We'll talk more about caring for yourself and your child during these tough times. We'll be right back.
What's left of Hurricane Ida has become deadly in the Northeast. At least 19 are dead, including a 70-year-old man who was swept away by floodwaters. Divers are searching for other victims after Ida drenched the Northeast region in record rainfalls. New York Central Park experienced more than 3 inches of rain in just an hour last night, forcing the National Weather Service to issue its first ever flash flood emergency for parts of the city. Tornadoes tore through Maryland.
Incredible flooding in the Northeast. In fact, at one point we were seeing some video that people were putting on their cell phones, and they sent it out of, it looked like people were pouring buckets of water in the subways in New York City. It was just raining from the ceiling of that. Incredible. You take a look at the weather computer, and this is why. You can see at the very top there, right above the timestamp, it's a low pressure center that is moving by. Now we're looking ahead into Friday morning, and that's when everybody clears out a little bit thanks to the ridge of high pressure. Now as this settles to the north, remember, if you're on the east or the southeastern side of that, you'll get a northerly component to the winds. That's where we are now, and that keeps us nice and cool. In fact, daytime highs, we'll see some lower 80s, it looks like, for a few days. But once that high starts to shift and move a little bit further to the south, then that clockwise flow brings winds out of the south, and it'll warm us right back up. We should see by the early to middle part of next week, we'll be back into the upper 80s again. We are watching Hurricane Larry. This one is in the middle of nowhere in the Atlantic Ocean, but gets pretty strong by Sunday there at a Category 4. Again, should not affect us. At this point, it's too early to say, but we'll be watching that. Tonight, 58 degrees, mostly clear and cool. Tomorrow is a comfortable day. Lower humidities, comfortable there, and a high of 81 degrees. 7-day forecast showing 84 for your weekend. Rain chances are slight on Sunday, Monday, only at 20%. So holiday weekend looking good. We're back to 84 and 86 for Sunday, Monday, and some upper 80s with sunshine next week.
The Winston-Salem community is mourning the loss of a student and healing from that tragedy. It was a devastating day every one of us had to witness, and you all shared your thoughts for all of those involved. Crystal Reeves says praying for the victim's family Losing a child is the worst pain I've ever been through. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Justin Morton says, so sad. I'm praying for students, teachers, administrators, parents, families of those children affected, and my condolences to the family who lost their loved one. Andrea Dixon Reed wrote, wow, so sad. Prayers for the victim's family and also prayers for the suspect's family. Manu Parks, this brought tears to my eyes that I hadn't shed all day. Such a horrific situation. My prayers for all parties involved. Daniel Beal says, let's love more and judge less in such heartbreaking times. And Kim Jones said, sad to say, but metal detectors need to be in schools, same as the airport. Lori Dalton Stone, prayers for a family of victims and all the kids there. May God bless you and help you. Trisha Jean says, so heartbroken right now.
I think a lot of people are feeling those thoughts right now. You know, as a parent, which I am not, but a parent of a student at a different school, maybe you try to put yourself into the shoes of the parents who are dealing with this firsthand. And I imagine it's difficult to do that because you don't really know what it's like until you're actually thrown into it and you're forced to wait 6 hours before you could put your arms around your child after they've just been inside a school where someone was shot and killed.
Just couldn't even imagine. I know we report on this kind of stuff all the time, but it happens other places. And then when it happens here, and just watching the video and our coverage yesterday, it was just heartbreaking. Especially when we found the news that the victim had died. Even here in the studio, you could just see how shocked and heartbroken everybody was. And you were actually there when they made that announcement.
Yeah, and just to see the law enforcement who are always very composed and put together, and the backbone of their departments have to pause because they didn't want to get emotional, and just to see the tears coming down the face of the police chief out there, Katrina Thompson. I mean, very sad to see, knowing that while it wasn't their fault, they're now responsible for bringing people together and investigating this and trying to do their best to make sure it doesn't happen again.
And though a life is lost, it's just been beautiful to see the community coming together and showing that support through social media, the prayer visuals. It's just been great.
Yes, it has. We'll be right back.
A cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Why does it have that sound? That's weird. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. This is how Tracy's mic sounded this morning to me. They forever go together like a classic combination when a dark, delicious cookie meets an icy cold sensation. I'm in my office, but I can move out and see if that will help you. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. When a dark, delicious cookie meets an icy cold sensation, it's the one and only creamy chocolate. Is that better? Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
We'd hoped to learn more about the investigation and the suspect involved in the shooting at a news conference today, but the Forsyth County DA
And I want you to know that it is okay not to be okay today.
A heartfelt message directly to students from Winston-Salem Police Chief Katrina Thompson.
It's okay not to be okay after students lived through a horrifying day after one of their peers was shot and killed. 15-year-old William Chavis Reynard Miller Jr. died after he was taken to the hospital.
Authorities shared their condolences with the community earlier this morning. Ben Briscoe was there at that meeting, and did we learn anything new, Ben?
Guys, the details were pretty slim, but I do want to tell you, I have just learned this is still an active investigation. Look over here, you can see the deputy has blocked off the school right now. And you know that helicopter that was doing the laps yesterday as they were looking for the suspect? Well, the helicopter just flew overhead again. We're not sure why. We're going to make some calls and try to figure out why that is, but it was the exact same helicopter by the looks of it. We had hoped to learn more today at that news conference with not only the DA, the sheriff, the police chief of police, but also Governor Roy Cooper. But the DA said because this investigation is still ongoing, they've got to be pretty tight-lipped.
We cannot talk about the facts of this case while the investigation is still pending. The court case is still coming. We understand you have lots of questions, we really do, and a lot of the questions you have are going to deal with what are the facts in this case. We cannot share that with the public at this time, and we hope that you appreciate and understand that. We have to preserve the integrity of the investigation and the integrity of the prosecution.
The integrity of the prosecution, of course, everyone wants justice in this case. We have learned that the suspect is a student at the school and that they will be processed, originally at least, as a juvenile. WFMY News 2 is digging more into why that is and how that process will work. We're going to bring that to you at 5 o'clock. But while there's a lot of unanswered questions, one thing is really certain in here. There were a lot of men and women who put their lives on the line to protect the students at this school yesterday, and they are heroes, Avery.
Yeah, a tragedy. That's how one community member I spoke with today described the shooting at Mount Tabor High School. She was at the school earlier today to offer a silent prayer for the victim, their family, and the community. And that's something folks can actually do tonight, right here at Mount Tabor United Methodist Church. And while the community is mourning, we're also hearing so much about the bravery of teachers and staff. One teacher I spoke with says she's still shaken. She waited hours with her students in a storage area, trying to keep them calm, even handling one having a panic attack. She says she did feel prepared, but never expected this to happen here. She did say there was an outpouring of support from people wishing her well. Earlier today, people were coming out to offer their condolences at Mount Tabor High School. A student dropping off balloons told me she knew the victim. Another woman, Jonesy Birch, says she lives in the area and came to pray for the victim and his family. She says the teachers and staff are one of a kind.
They should have a Medal of Honor, you know, because those are the people that stepped in to protect our children, the students here at the school, and I just applaud them, you know, I have to give reference.
This was all shocking, and it's a time for the community to come together.
My heart just goes out. It just goes out to each and every individual here at the school, the students, the staff, everyone. So rest in peace, Will.
And that vigil starts at 7:15 tonight. As for that student and teacher I spoke with, I'll have more on their stories coming up at 5 and 6.
Well, speaking of those heroes, those teachers and the school staff, as well as a Forsyth County paramedic who responded to the Mount Tabor High School shooting. She posted a poem that she wrote on Facebook last night after her shift ended. And I just wanted to give you guys just a few tidbits of it because it starts with saying, "Today our community was changed forever. Today students and teachers experienced something we have only heard about and seen on TV." That really hits home for all of us. I mean, you never think of it happening here, do you guys?
How many times do we hear, it seems like we always hear that when we interview somebody, you know, didn't think it would happen here. We hear it over and over, and I never felt that and understood it till yesterday.
Yeah, it just hits differently when it happens in your own backyard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that even as we were saying all the things that were unfolding yesterday, it just didn't even seem like it was real.
Yeah.
All right, so the poem talks about one family grieving the loss of a loved one's life and another family grieving the choice that the loved one made. So we're going to make this a little bit closer for you so that you can see it. At the end, it says that we train for the worst in the hopes that it never happens. And yesterday we were faced with one of our worst fears. And that is so very, very true. There is a lot of support for the responders, the families, and the staff out there. This is from Unity Wellness Center saying they stand with the family of William Chavis Reynard Miller Jr., our Mount Tabor family, and the entire city in this moment of trauma. And of course, there's that picture of that rainbow that we all saw yesterday. Other schools showing their support from Reagan High School and Southwest Elementary, sending their love using that hashtag Spartan Strong. And then I'm going to end with this one right here. The members of Old Town Baptist Church, they gathered to pray last night for those students, the staff, and the community.
Well, we actually have good news in the forecast department, which is nice to have at this point. And as we head into the next couple of days, this is a perfect holiday weekend with Labor Day coming up on Monday. Look at the dew point temperature, and a lot of people look at this and they say, well, children, what is this? We see a temperature, we don't know. All you need to know is that a dew point reading, which is kind of a measure of humidity basically, and here's the legend for you there. 40s is pleasant, 50s comfortable, 60s humid, 70s oppressive, 70s is more like a tropical air mass, so super humid. This is 48 degrees, that's where we are right now, which means very good condition. In fact, it's dry air, not just lower humidity, it's actually classified as dry. So 58, mostly clear. Tomorrow morning will actually feel cool because of the drier air there. And then tomorrow's high at 81. If you look at our long-range forecast, it is nice, 84 for your weekend. Isolated shower or two, maybe Sunday, Monday, but it's only at 20%. 86 for Labor Day, and then next week, go back to being warm again, upper 80s, but no rain, just partly cloudy skies Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. This afternoon, Forsyth County Commissioners voted to encourage all residents and visitors wear face coverings indoors, not require them. Members of the board argued that before punishing people for not wearing masks, they should be given the chance to decide to wear one on their own. Again, the county did not pass a mask mandate, but masks are still required in all county-owned buildings. Alamance Regional Medical Center has brought a morgue trailer onto its campus, but not because of high numbers of COVID deaths. Cone Health officials say there is an outbreak of COVID-19 at the Alamance Funeral Home, which impacts the timely pickup of bodies from the hospital morgue. The portable unit is at the hospital in case it is needed. It's the Tanger Center's opening day. The venue's first performance is tonight with Greensboro native Rhiannon Giddens. Masks will be required inside of the venue because of Guilford County's mask mandate that went into effect earlier this month. And it's possible some performances may require you to show proof of vaccination or provide a negative COVID test. Rhiannon Giddens is currently the only performance requiring one of those options to attend. We'll be right back.
Hello.
Definitely get my steps.
Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Whoops.
The fight, Brad.
That looks like somebody pinned the Zoom camera, our own camera, up, and not Coach Lamont. All right. Whoops. Hey, Coach, can you hear me? This is
Yeah,
Eric.
I can hear you.
You can? Awesome. Let me step back over here. There we go. Yeah, I think where I have to stand is out of camera, so you can't see me. Can you give us a mic check real quick?
Feel free
Coach?
to,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
feel free to include if you want. We just learned that Tabor is now closed.
Coach, can you keep talking? We're having trouble hearing you.
3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
If you want to squeeze it in.
It was tomorrow as well.
You got
They're
me?
closed, but now it's all the way to Tuesday. They're
Well,
back.
so,
Oh, well, Monday there's no
right,
school
exactly.
anyway.
So
Yeah,
that's not new then? I didn't
That
know
that
it was
shouldn't be because
tomorrow.
Monday was all So we are back with Coach Lamont Odoms, who's talking with us about how parents can help their children heal from traumatic situations like the Mount Tabor High School shooting yesterday. So Coach, let's talk about this problem and why we think that we're seeing more violence among the kids. Sorry, we're having a technical issue there. And we're wondering why, if you have any insight as to why we're seeing more violence among the kids.
You know, I believe that there was a pandemic before this pandemic that we are dealing with right now. And it's one of the pandemics that's never truly been addressed because of shame, because of embarrassment. And that is, we have a mental health issue here in our country. And it's time for us to confront these things. You know, we tend to focus on these things as adults, not understanding that our kids will soon become adults who are also dealing with many of the same things that we adults are dealing with. Anything that is unresolved in our lives will one day become resolved because it will find a way to escape ourselves. And the consequences are typically deadly. So it's important that we as a community, and I was listening to how the community has responded, and this is what we need. We need the community to step up. And, you know, a few things that I believe personally is that each school needs to have a spiritual leadership team, people in the community that come in and sit down with students, conflict resolution, to help students deal with situations before they deal with situations the way that they dealt with this incident that took place yesterday. And we as a community, we have to be willing to listen. We have to sit down, everyone coming together to find solutions that help our young people. Because our young people are crying out, we're just not catching the tears.
It's interesting because the comment, "it takes a village," is so true. Do you have any insight on signs that parents can watch for with their own kids to make sure everything's okay?
You know, after my daughter, Kaden, witnessed the shooting at Butler High School, she experienced migraines and she didn't want to talk about it. She was very closed off because of what she had experienced. PTSD sets in. So it's important, parents, listen to me. It's important that we give our students time and we allow them to come to us when they're ready to talk. And when they're ready to talk, we got to be ready to listen and to help.
Coach, when you went through this with your own daughters, and I know this is different for every family, so you can't paint everybody with the same brush, but how long do you think it takes to get to your kids to kind of settle them down and as a family to kind of heal?
You know, it's each family is different. You know, my family is 7 of us, so we're a very vocal family. We communicate well, and we just had to give our kids time. And when that time came that they were ready to talk, we were ready to listen. So parents, as you are talking to your kids, whether they're in high school, junior high, or even elementary school, we have to be candid. We have to be transparent, and we can't sugarcoat things. This world that we live in is a different place now, and we have to speak to our kids about the place that they live in, and we have to be honest with our kids. And to every parent that is listening whose child is directly affected by what took place yesterday, we pray for you. And I just know that this is something that many years from now, we're going to look back and it's something that we'll never forget. But the situation and the question we have to ask ourselves now is, how do we move forward? How do we grow forward? And how can we give back to a community that's been crying out for so long?
So true.
It's our responsibility now to step up, and it's time for us to step up now.
Coach, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it. Great words there. We're coming right back.
Thank you so much, Eric.
You know, Richard Petty and his companies, they're just known around the area for always giving back. That legacy continues next weekend with their First Responders Appreciation Day. The event is called that. It will happen on Saturday, September 11th for obvious reasons. I spoke with Rebecca Petty-Moffett about the event.
Basically because of everything that our world has been through with COVID and, you know, the past couple years, everything that you see in the news, we just felt like we'd like to do something to honor first responders and, you know, the policemen and all that. So we're going to have, you know, a special place for them to set up their patrol cars or their fire engines or whatever they're bringing. And we're actually giving out a couple trophies, like a People's Choice Award.
The event will be similar to their other cruise-ins that will have food, music, and classic cars, of course, but safety always plays a role.
It'll be an outside event, so, you know, we're going to ask people to social distance, masks are optional, but what we do is we bring in extra hand washing stations and extra hand sanitizing stations. But, you know, 90% of the show is outside, and then we'll just monitor how many people we have inside the museum area at a certain time.
And of course, look for that story on WFMYnews2.com for more information. Forecast for us looks great heading through the holiday weekend. We're at 78 degrees outside. That sounded more like morning lows over the last week or so, but 78 right now. If you look at Boone, they're at 75. I bet it's beautiful in the mountains this weekend. That'd be the place to go. It's Asheville. 75 in Elizabeth City, Wilmington at 82. Hour by hour heading into the evening, we get down to about 60 by 2 a.m., which means our overnight lows probably in the upper 50s. We are high and dry right now with the influence of a high pressure system that's back up to the north of us. That high will shift a little bit. It will warm things up eventually, but in the short term, we've got good weather. You can see that cold front moving off the coast there. We say goodbye to that, and we're just seeing really comfortable weather. 7-day forecast shapes up through the weekend like this: 81, lower humidity and sunshine on Friday. We've got 84 for your weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Very slight 20% chance of a late day shower. We don't expect much with that. That's Sunday and Monday, 84 and 86 for those 2 days. Then we're back to work and the heat goes up again in the upper 80s. That's 87 to 88. Partly cloudy, no mention of rain. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
One, two, three, four, five.
Yeah. Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. This is a mask check. Whoa.
Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm here at the Mount Tabor United Methodist Church where a prayer vigil is happening tonight.
A few minutes ago, we heard a helicopter go by. We've made some calls on that and have more information for you.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. We're walking to our live spot across from Mount Tabor High School. Thanks.
Jenna? Hey, mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's time for my 2 cents. Parents, and I'm one of you, listen to this. When we see these events from yesterday, I know what goes through your mind. Same thing that goes through mine. You think about your own kids. What would you do if that was at your kid's school? Well, the words, worst nightmare, not enough. It doesn't cut it. If you were around my age, I mean, think back. This was unheard of before, right? It was a once-in-a-lifetime event. We heard about Kent State, but that was it. But since Columbine, we've had 231 school shootings in this country, and that doesn't even count the ones that were stopped or thwarted. So after listening to law enforcement yesterday and watching everything unfold and talking to my friends in law enforcement, know this: the guys in blue, they know what they're doing. And while there will always be people that for whatever reason go down these dark paths, there are always those that will throw themselves in harm's way to save our kids. So I guess it comes down to this: use your belief system, love your kids, hug your kids, tell them you love them, and have some faith. God bless you and all of your families. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
And I wanted to come today to let the people of this community know that the state of North Carolina was behind them.
Governor Roy Cooper rallying behind the Mount Tabor community after a deadly shooting on school grounds.
15-year-old William Miller Jr.'s mother will never hug her child again after police say a fellow classmate shot and killed him yesterday.
Yesterday she told me to say his name, and I said his name. Today she said, Kimbrough, tell the mothers to love on their babies. Because I didn't get a chance to tell my baby I loved him. She said, and tell the mother to tell their babies to put the guns down, because it's senseless.
School is canceled again tomorrow to give students and staff time to process. The district has made counselors available just in case.
It's not just the school community processing the shooting, it's everyone in the triad.
Today, Mount Tabor UMC Church opened their sanctuary to allow people to pray. It's also holding a vigil tonight at 7:15.
A few minutes ago out here at the school, guys, we heard that helicopter go around, the same one that was searching for the suspect all day yesterday from law enforcement, and we just kind of looked up at the sky like, what now? But we have talked with law enforcement. They say there is no active scene. They are out here just documenting and collecting evidence. While the scene out here is quiet now and the danger is gone, the fear remains for a lot of students and parents. So today, the police chief wanted to talk directly to students.
What you experienced yesterday at Mount Tabor, no one should ever experience at all, ever in their lives. I can only imagine how traumatic that experience could have been. And I want you to know that it is okay not to be okay today. I want you to know that we will provide all the services that you need. We will have therapists available for you. And I think you all heard our Superintendent Tricia McManus speak to that very thing yesterday. We are here to help support you as you get through this. Some of the most memorable times in my life were spent in school. I cannot imagine having the experience of what many of you went through yesterday as a lasting memory of a lifetime. Parents, pay attention to your children. You know them better than anybody else. If they are struggling, help them. If you don't know how to help them, call me. Call Sheriff Kimbrough.
You can tell she really means that. Give her a call if kids need help. Now, there is a whole team right now being assembled to help kids get through this. In fact, counselors have already been talking with students and parents at the school here. And not only that, but the sheriff's office is planning on sending some extra deputies out to all the schools across the district for at least the rest of the week, so that way the kids can see the extra police presence and feel a little safer going into school. Today, though, there seem to be so many questions still remaining about this investigation. We are working to learn as much information as we can, including what's next for the suspect. WFMY News 2's Jenna Krasina joins us live. Jenna, you actually spoke to the DA today one-on-one. What did he have to say?
Ben, I did speak with the DA, but first I just want to point out how much of a different scene this school does look like today, but it is the center of this ongoing investigation. When I did speak with the DA, he described a little bit about the differences between a juvenile and adult when it comes to charges. He also was very adamant about not answering specific questions when it came to the case, because he says he doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize this case. Now, at this point, we do know that the suspect is a juvenile and in custody. On Wednesday, a Facebook user who lives in a neighborhood outside of Kernersville shared a video with us. In the video, it shows heavy law enforcement with guns drawn taking someone into custody. I also asked the DA if he could confirm if this was the suspect, but again, he said he could not answer. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough was also asked about the investigation. He says they are still working to learn the motive.
I have no idea what the relationship was between the two young men. No idea as relates to the motive. As the district attorney has said, it's still an active investigation. We're still a lot of moving parts that we are putting together. As he said, the men and women of this county and this city and of this state are just still constantly out there debriefing, putting these parts together. So there are a lot of questions that we're still searching for answers.
The DA says the timeline for charges and court proceedings could take weeks to months. The case must go to Superior Court because the suspect is a juvenile and not an adult. But just because he's a juvenile does not mean they're going to go easy on him. The DA says they have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to violence committed at schools.
Jenna, thank you. The reality of what happened yesterday might just be settling in for some people.
We hear people say time and time again, it just doesn't happen here. But it did. And as WFMY News 2's Avery Powell found, many are now left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, students and staff are obviously still shaken up after yesterday's shooting at Mount Tabor High School, but the community will be coming together right here at Mount Tabor United Methodist Church for a prayer vigil in about 2 hours. I spoke with student Brooke Vonderhaar, who came out to the school earlier today to offer her condolences and put balloons in front of the school sign. She says she knew the victim, who she called Will, and says it's just a sad situation. Take a look at these photos she sent to News 2. One of them shows teachers and staff helping keep the students safe. Another, police officers in her classroom. She tells me they were about to start class when she saw students running. They initially didn't think anything of it, assuming people were just late to class, but the next thing she knew, they were in lockdown.
And we thought it was a drill, but my teacher said they don't do drills on third period. So then we all got scared and we got in a corner and hid for a while, and we didn't get really anything for like an hour. We were just hearing cops everywhere.
She says SWAT teams came into her room yelling for them to put their hands up, asking if they were okay. Brooke offered her prayers for everyone going through the situation and says it was terrifying.
I never thought I'd have to experience anything like that. You see it on the news, but you never think it's actually going to happen where you go to school.
The Mount Tabor United Methodist Church is actually open for prayers. The sanctuary is open right behind me until about 6. That prayer vigil starts at 7:15. And we've been hearing all throughout this situation about the bravery of teachers and staff. You'll hear from one of those teachers coming up at 6.
Thank you, Avery. Neighbors in the area are shocked and saddened by this turn of events. Police cars flooded the area responding to the Mount Tabor school shooting.
WFMY News 2's Marissa Tanzino is live outside the school tonight where they're still trying to process what happened so close to home. Marissa.
Chad, that's right. And now balloons and candles sit right outside the Mount Tabor High School sign, just feet away from police tape and a cruiser 24 hours after this school shooting. It shut down the surrounding neighborhood and people had a hard time getting in or out for hours. Now neighbors are looking back, wondering how something like this could hit so close to home.
Then I saw 20 go by in a minute.
Hours after a student was shot at Mount Tabor High School and a whole day later, neighbors still can't shake the sobering feeling.
To have it in our community was shocking.
It was a very chaotic scene, and I guess it continued to unfold, and we were all wondering what was going on.
A number of people who live in the area have children that went to Mount Tabor High School at one point. That's what made the reality of the situation even harder to grasp.
I can't imagine what the parents are going through.
The same phrase echoed from neighbor to neighbor, that this doesn't happen in this community.
Well, you think not, but of course it did, sadly.
Now that harsh reality really setting in today for some, but the one way they'll get through this is by coming together as a community.
Thanks, Marissa. In the aftermath of all this, our mental health becomes a focus for both parents and kids, but it's difficult to know where to start. We spoke with Dr. Linda Nicolati, a professor of pediatrics at Brenner Children's Hospital, to get some answers. She said observing your kids is the first step.
Some teenagers may not be ready or willing to talk about their thoughts and feelings. What parents can be looking out for are changes in mood, so more irritability, more sadness, more withdrawn behavior, changes in eating patterns, changes in sleep patterns, more aches and pains such as belly aches or headaches.
Dr. Nicolati also says to not neglect your own feelings as well as your child's while you are navigating through this tough time.
We can all try to understand what Tabor families are going through, but few people actually know what it feels like. Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page, a former school resource officer, shares how SROs handle these types of situations. Next.
Couldn't have been blessed with better weather today on our Thursday afternoon. You've of course noticed the drop in humidity, but also our temperatures have not been all that warm. Right around 80 currently, some upper 70s as well, and it's going to be a beautiful afternoon and evening. The Hoppers actually play a doubleheader. First pitch, well, right now. They're playing 2 games. Temperature's going to be great for that. Coming up, I'll have your weekend forecast and take a look at what's left in the tropics.
Hey guys, so we're going to start off on 5 and W with an O box, and then we're going to go to 3 on A, correct? Ham? So this is 5. So 5 is going to be here with the O box. Okay, because she's sizing me up. I just want to make sure that I'm in the right spot. Gotcha. And then this is going to be the next one. And then when the long sound bite comes, I will pull the V home to here so that you'll see the V home and this one. Got it.
Out here live at Mount Tabor, where they continue to process the situation and the horrors of yesterday. I want you to look right up here at that sign on that lamp pole. If you see it, it is yellow and blue. Tomorrow, the district is asking everyone to wear yellow and blue to show solidarity with the Spartans. It is one simple way to help show that the community is here to support them. We also are seeing the district attorney asking people to start volunteering more at after-school programs to try to help prevent violence like we saw right here. Another way that you can help give back and act in this tragedy. And a few minutes ago, I actually heard some neighbors talking about maybe they could do some sidewalk chalk out here for all the kids to support them. You can see lots of people trying to come together to let these students know we have their back and we love and cherish them.
Of SWAT team members, police and sheriff's deputies surrounding Mount Tabor, their cars lining all the streets around the school. It is all that we could see yesterday. It gave us a decent idea of what was happening on the outside, but what was going on inside? Was the safety plan and the lockdown going to plan? What is the actual process? Well, if this is the school, let's say, what is happening and how is it happening and where is it happening? I asked Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page to describe the timeline.
When the resource officer first gets the alarm that there's a threat, particularly we're talking about an active shooter risk and threat, the school resource officer goes to the threat and stops the threat. That's his responsibility. Also to identify if there are any other threats to our students or staff. As the other law enforcement officers that are being called in to assist, to set up perimeters, to secure that area, they're also trying to identify if there are any other threats or risks in that area. And that's why you have to get with staff and begin your search protocol, room by room, closet by closet, door by door.
Going room by room, closet by closet, door by door, it is a time consumer. The team is looking for students and staff, but they're also looking for any other weapons, threats, or possibly explosives.
That's the key thing is there's a lot of parts moving, and sometimes it takes time to find out what's going on. And by doing the step-by-step, room by room, you're able to start isolating and eliminating potential threats. Then you move people, because you don't want to move people until you know it's safe to do so. But once it is safe to do so, then your extra resources that come on board, you use them to help you move the student population out to a safer location.
And we know from students and staff at Mount Tabor that safer location at times in the school was either an auditorium or a media center, and that they were there for hours while law enforcement completed the safety search and coordinated a pickup location for parents and students. It is a time-consuming process.
Checking up on our forecast for today, high temperatures were right around 80 this afternoon. You can see your hometowns here, around 79 in Mount Airy, 80 in Burlington, but only 79 in Winston-Salem and in Greensboro. My forecast, a little warmer than that, was for a high of 81 degrees. We came out with that 79, so just 2 degrees off for today. That's a check mark on our board, and we are looking at an accurate forecast again. Going into tomorrow, 81. That's going to be your high once again. That's my forecast for your Friday. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the tropics, a concerning hurricane, a strong one. This is Hurricane Larry, where this one is going and how long we have to track it. That's next.
The remnants of Hurricane Ida ravaged neighborhoods in parts of the Northeast, killing at least 24 people. Rescue teams in Bridgeport, Pennsylvania spent hours using boats to reach those stranded when the river swelled. New York City subway lines are slowly getting back to normal, but throughout the city, the cleanup is just beginning. Ida made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane in Louisiana Sunday, where many have been left without food, water, or power. President Biden is set to visit the region Friday to survey the impact.
Pretty incredible damage there and super scary. That flooding all happened in just a couple of hours. Think about that, just a few hours, and that's all the damage that it did. We're very lucky here in the Triad. We did not see anything all that bad from Ida, thank goodness. And clear blue sky, that's what we were treated to today. It's been a long time since we had a day like today, right? You step outside, you felt the difference. Morning low is 63, the afternoon high at 79. Both of those are a tick below average, and this is always that key to feeling comfortable. Very low humidity. Our dew points right now are in the 40s. We say it's comfortable when the dew point's in the 50s, but that's really unheard of as we start to welcome in a little bit of a taste of fall here. Temperatures across the Carolinas right now a little warmer. As you go to the south, a little cooler, of course. You go to the north, still in the 70s though. September typically is a really comfortable month across much of the eastern U.S., and we're starting that trend today. Clear sky here. All of Ida is gone, by the way. That system pushes well off into the Canada area at this time, and our nice weather will continue. So plan on another repeat of today for tomorrow. Same story for Saturday, actually. Our next weather system won't really be much of one. It's this cold front that starts to get a little closer by Sunday. It could give us a passing shower, but I'm not all that impressed by it. I think we'll generally stay dry all the way through the next 7 days. Humidity trend, very low tomorrow and Saturday, but it will creep upward a little bit by Sunday and Monday. You'll feel a little bit more in the air. Let's talk quickly about the tropics. We're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean here, and Africa's on the right-hand side of your screen. This is Hurricane Larry. Winds are already at 80 miles per hour, which means it's a pretty strong storm for being this far out in the Atlantic. And look at this. This is the big problem. It's expected to become an extremely strong hurricane, a Category 3 or 4 in the middle of the ocean. Now, here's the slightly better news. It's not expected to become a big player in the forecast for the United States. We're way over here. You'll notice the computer models are curving this thing well to the north in the middle of the ocean, and there's good reason for that. Our fronts that are sliding by, they're likely to pick it up. So we'll keep you posted, but it looks all right now. 7-day forecast, beautiful weather. It's going to continue a little while longer. Just a low chance of a shower with a couple clouds Sunday into Monday.
We want to make a quick correction. At 4:30, we told you a story about Alamance Regional Medical Center bringing a morgue trailer to its campus because of a COVID-19 outbreak. I want to make it clear the outbreak is not at Alamance Funeral Service. Again, the outbreak is not at Alamance Funeral Service. Alamance Regional Medical Center said they needed the morgue trailer for an outbreak at a funeral home in the area, but did not specify which one.
For the fourth day in a row, our state's coronavirus hospitalizations have crept upward. There are nearly 3,800 patients in hospitals statewide. It's a new recent high and the highest number that we've seen since mid-January. But you can see here at the end of the graph that our numbers have been pretty steady lately. It's a much more gradual increase than what we saw over the past month, even the past 2 months. Now that's good news considering we're approaching our record high. Today's number is just 200 from the highest number we've ever seen.
This afternoon, Forsyth County Commissioners voted to encourage all residents and visitors to wear face coverings indoors, not require them. Members of the board argued that before pushing people for not wearing masks, they should be given the chance to decide to wear one on their own. Again, the county did not pass a mask mandate, but masks are still required in all county-owned buildings.
State lawmakers want to crack down on criminals stealing catalytic converters. A new bill would make it a felony. It would also put more responsibility on metal companies. Recyclers, for example, would have to keep electronic records on all catalytic converters they buy. Converters are an expensive car part containing precious metals, making it easy for thieves to sell them at scrap yards. The bill now heads to Governor Cooper. We'll be right back.
hear you.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yep, and I can hear you. How about you, Adam?
I can hear you guys. I can't see, or I don't have camera up, so I'm switching computers really quick.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure, yeah, because we want the camera for sure.
All right, I'm moving right now.
The Lexington Barbecue Festival is still on for next month, at least for now. Organizers will give an update tomorrow on what role COVID is playing in their planning. Last year, COVID canceled the festival for the first time in 36 years. It's the region's largest one-day street festival with over 100,000 people expected to attend. Right now, the Lexington Barbecue Festival is scheduled for October 23rd.
The day has finally arrived. The very first public event inside the Stephen Tanger Center for the Performing Arts.
Rhiannon Giddens will perform at 8. She's a Greensboro native and a Grammy Award winner.
Tickets, they are still available, but Giddens is requiring guests to be vaccinated or have a negative coronavirus test. Masks will be required inside because of Guilford County's mask mandate.
We have more on the center on WFNYnews2.com. We'll be right back.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
A growing memorial for a student killed at Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 1 2 3. Thank you.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
like the threat of violence.
Hamburger. I had a hamburger today for lunch.
Happening right now, a growing memorial for a student killed at Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem.
15-year-old William Chavis Renard Miller Jr.'s life was tragically cut short when a fellow student shot and killed him yesterday afternoon. That's what police are saying. His mother telling law enforcement to speak his name so that everyone remembers. Now, community is working to make sense of all the things that happened yesterday and what comes next.
The healing for some has already started. Today, Governor Roy Cooper, Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough, and Winston-Salem Police Chief Katrina Thompson, they all spoke together about the strength they've seen in this community.
I believe in the people of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County, and I believe in the people of North Carolina. I believe that we can grieve and comfort this family and come together as a community with an even deeper resolve.
We will get through this, and we won't let fear stop us from moving forward together. We won't.
I also want to thank our law enforcement partners from all over the state.
The Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Superintendent also spoke about the bravery of the teachers out here at the school yesterday during the shooting.
Our teachers responded beautifully. Yes, they have practiced lockdown drills. They were ready for this type of incident. Not that we ever want to have to actually follow through with it. But yeah, so our teachers are, these are their students. Our children's lives are entrusted to us.
True heroes for sure. All of this happened during a news conference today that Jenna was part of, and you were there. I was really struck by the fact that even though it was a news conference, there wasn't a whole lot of news in it.
Yeah, Ben, if people were watching at home on the live stream or listening in, you probably heard the district attorney for Forsyth County say over and over again, I know you guys are frustrated, I know you want answers, but there's so many details that I can't and won't talk about right now to protect the integrity of this case.
Yeah, because the main point is that they want to not only protect the integrity of the case, but of the prosecution, because everyone wants justice and accountability with this suspect.
Yeah, and when I spoke to the DA after, I talked with him one-on-one and just had him kind of describe what the differences are between trying an adult case, and then of course we know the suspect in this case is a juvenile. So there's a lot of differences there, especially one, he was saying they have to take this to the Superior Court and it could take weeks to months. So as you said, really trying to make sure they get everything right here.
So something that changed so many lives out here in an instant is going to take months to play out in the courts.
Yeah, it could, according to the DA, and he stressed he knows we want our questions answered. He knows that's our job as journalists, and he knows the community has so many questions about what happened here yesterday, and so many want answers. But hopefully those will come as this investigation continues.
So this is the second school shooting in a week in North Carolina, and the governor actually came today to meet with all of law enforcement to look at possible solutions for the situation.
Yeah, and he said that one big thing, and I think the DA mentioned this too, is getting kids active, getting volunteers, people to have things for children to be involved in, especially at a young age.
Yeah, those after-school programs, that's one thing that he said you can do to help. There's so much more that you can do too, including with your own family and taking care of them, Tanya.
you know, the sight of the police cars and lockdown neighborhoods, it's still really a shock to those who live in that neighborhood. 24 hours after the Mount Tabor shooting, WFMY News 2's Marissa Tanzino is live in a Winston-Salem neighborhood close to the school. So Marissa, how are people who are right there nearby processing all of this?
Well, Tanya, a lot of people really still trying to wrap their head around how something like this could hit so close to home and happen right in their community here. Police tape, a cruiser, and some cars, what's left here in the parking lot as the school is closed for the next few days. Neighbors stopped dead in their tracks when they saw the response yesterday with dozens of police cars swarming the area.
It's such a quiet and beautiful neighborhood. I mean, you just don't expect anything like this, but you know, it happened, and all I can do is pray this never happens again.
And Tanya, that's really what we've been hearing throughout the day, is that things like this just don't happen here.
All right, and so, you know, I think to myself, you know, if people aren't familiar with this area, Marissa, it really is nestled in that neighborhood. It's not like it's off a main road and there's a neighborhood nearby. It is nestled in there.
Right, exactly. I mean, we were driving through this area and it's not like it's right off a main road. I mean, you said it just right there. There's house to house. I'm looking, houses are just yards apart in this neighborhood. So it's a very highly residential neighborhood. There's a 2-lane road right out in front of us that separate that residential neighborhood and the houses from the school, but there's a house right next here. It's police tape and then the house. So to see this happen really right out your front window for some of these neighbors was just startling.
Yeah, because I think to myself, they think of the school as one of their neighbors. They see the kids walking to school and all that kind of stuff day in and day out. That's just part of their life. And to know that one of their neighbors got hurt, there was something bad that happened at one of their neighbors' house.
They really do. And a lot of these neighbors that I spoke with today had kids at one point when they were younger, high school age, that went to this school. So it hit even harder for them to hear this news and to realize that this happened so close in their community. You know, you see these kids, whether they're walking home or getting on the bus, and it really does hit home for some of these neighbors to see such a horrible thing happen to such a young child in a place, of all places, a school where you're supposed to go and feel safe during the day.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to the whole thing. It happened here. Like it happened here, and that's the gravity of it. Thanks so much, Marissa. Well, the shooting is going to have a lasting impact not only on the neighborhood, but also that family who lost a loved one, and for every single student at Mount Tabor High School. 2 experts share how to navigate this process and the whole situation after the break. Okay, guys, here we go. Let's see. I got gallery, I got full screen. Go ahead and unmute for me, Adam, so I know that your mic is working.
Test.
So, but it still says you're muted on your thing. So is it coming out of the other one? Because that's going to be a problem. Yeah, you're going to have to unmute from the one that you are standing in front of and yeah. There you go. Aha, there you go. Okay. All right. So now I think we're good. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay, I think I have Nanette, I have Adam. Nanette, your camera looks much better. I can see you more full screen. This is good. Okay.
Good.
So you guys know that I'm not going to be talking to you this way. I will be talking this way, and then I will kind of ask questions that way. Okay. I think we're all good. Adam, can you talk one more time? They're asking.
Test.